Llegó la hora. No me digas más. Poner los viales aquí para abrir la puerta. Vale, y aquí estamos. ¿Qué tal? He vuelto. ¿Estáis solo?
No Venatori this time, Alexius? Where's the trap? Your guards?
There's no longer any point. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
El fin.
What do you mean? What's ending?
The irony that you should appear now, of all the possibilities. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, that is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius, what have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Danos el amuleto.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I want the world back.
A la mierda todo. ¿Dónde estás? Au. Vale, esto es un loco de pavo. Cerramos la grieta y nos centramos un poco. Sed bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Dragon Age. Estamos a nuestro mago. Vuelve a la vida. Tú eres el siguiente.
The Elder One will destroy us both.
Tenemos que mejorar o ya estaría.
He wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
Aún podemos ayudarlo.
This Alexius was too far gone. The Alexius in our time might still be reasoned with.
I
Exacto.
suppose that's true. This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
No me digas
An
más.
hour? That's impossible. You must go now. The Elder One.
Frag. That's how they won. How it won.
A ver, todos listos.
If you could make it right, make it never happen, I'll fight. We'll fight.
No hay otra forma.
I can't let you kill yourself for me. There must be another way.
Look at us. We're already dead. The only way we live is if this day never comes.
Vale,
Cast
pues a
your
contenerlos.
spell. You have as much time as I have hours. Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die!
No está mal, ¿eh?
You'll have to do better than that.
Ala. Debes
Put
rendirte.
aside all claim to Redcliffe, and we let you live.
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Facilito. Y ya no tenemos más problemas aquí.
Well, I'm glad that's over with.
¡Ojo! No me digas más.
Or not.
Grand Enchanter, imagine how surprised I was to learn you'd given Redcliffe Castle away to a Tevinter Magister.
King Alistair.
Especially since I'm fairly sure Redcliffe belongs to Arl Tegan.
Your Majesty, we never intended...
I know what you intended. I wanted to help you. But you've made it impossible. You and your followers are no longer welcome in Ferelden.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
Ahora
I
necesitamos a
should
los
point
magos.
out that we did come here for mages to close the breach.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Que nos
Hopefully
ayudéis.
better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
I suggest conscripting them. They've proven what they'll do given too much freedom.
After this, stick them up a tower.
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
Venga.
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later.
I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now.
No sé
We
qué ha
can't
pasado
fight
ahí.
it without you.
Ha vuelto...
Any chance of success requires your full support.
I'd take that offer if I were you. One way or another, you're leaving my kingdom.
El rey Alistair.
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
Una pena que nos hayamos visto así, pero me alegra que el compa esté ganando poder. Ay, si yo os contara cómo era Alistair antes. Creo que ni siquiera sabía que lamer una farola en invierno era mala idea. Era muy inocente. Tenía que madurar. Tuve que hacer una misión secundaria para que madurase. Bueno, ahora
It's
es el
not
rey.
a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
Considerad esto una prueba.
Give them their freedom for now. If they prove later they can handle it, impose restrictions.
And how many lives will be lost if they fail? With the veil broken, the threat of possession. You were there, Seeker. Why didn't you intervene?
While I may not completely agree with the decision, I support it. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. And here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
Necesitamos lirio.
Closing the breach will require a lot of magic, and that means lyrium. I have contacts who can help.
Contacts meaning smugglers? Send them word. We need every advantage.
El poder de tener
We have
amigos en
legitimate
cualquier lado.
lyrium supply lines already.
And they don't need to hear of this.
Keep it under the table, and I'll do what I can to quiet rumors.
Ahí
You
está
should look into
Josephine.
the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
Adiós a mi siesta.
And I'd hoped to sit out the assault on the breach. Take a nap, maybe go for a walk.
What is it they say? No rest for the wicked.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying.
Oh, didn't I mention? The South is so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
¿Quieres quedarte?
I must admit, I'm surprised.
We both saw what could happen, what this Elder One and his cult are trying to do. Not everything from Tevinter is terrible. Some of us have fought for eons against this sort of madness. It's my duty to stand with you. That future will not come to pass.
Me alegro de que te quedes.
There's no one I'd rather be stranded in time with, future or present.
Excellent choice. But let's not get stranded again anytime soon, yes?
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make her willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
Hemos tomado el fuerte. Hemos tomado el fuerte. No hemos tomado el fuerte.
The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin.
And my miners appreciate your business.
Digo, a lo mejor hemos tomado el fuerte enemigo. Se ha parado. A lo mejor hemos tomado el fuerte enemigo y ahora podemos... ¿Qué tal, Dorian?
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
Se me ocurrirá algo más.
Give me time. I'm sure I'll surprise you.
I suspect that's untrue. Unless you strip yourself naked and allow the Chantry to flog you into repentance. Now that would surprise me. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
Tan malo es.
What would be wrong with that exactly?
Nothing, at first. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed, by inches. Not that this
Sí, a lo
is
mejor tiene
reason
un
to
punto.
oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
La verdad es que es verdad. Si de verdad empezaron así, igual y poco a poco los magos empezaron a ganar más poder, a lo mejor hubiese sido una mejor idea que se mantuviesen bajo control. Pero bueno, ya he hecho la elección, ya no puedo cambiarlo. Háblame de ti.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond
Aparte de
that,
eso,
yes.
sí.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
Aparte de eso, dices, es obvio para mí. Me están intentando decir que vaya por Dorian. Es que yo ya he elegido a Josephine. Lo siento, pero voy a por Josephine. Quiero ver a Lord Ontranto. Si tú lo dices.
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Cría selectiva.
What do you mean by generations of careful
Los
breeding?
mejores magos.
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
¿No te gusta
I'm
Tevinter?
getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
Hombre, después de lo que ha pasado.
I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
Están enfadados
Why would your
contigo.
family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan.
Sí.
If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way.
Vale, esto es curioso. Veréis, la idea era ir teniendo hijos con diferentes magos. Un mago de nivel medio con otro mago de nivel medio, sale un mago mejor. Un mago mejor con otro mago mejor, sale un mago superior. Un mago superior con otro mago superior, un mago maestro. Y así sucesivamente hasta que tuvieses un maestro poderoso de la magia. ¿Cuál es el problema? ¿Cuál era el problema según los padres de Dorian? Dorian es gay. a Dorian no le gustan las mujeres. A Dorian solo le gustan los hombres. Y eso como que pone un bache en su camino hacia la idea de ese mago tan poderoso. Intentaron utilizar magia de sangre para cambiar su orientación sexual. No salió bien. No le pasó nada a Dorian. Dorian sigue siendo tan normal como seríais vosotros o como sería yo. Simplemente no pasó nada. Dorian podría tener un hijo que fuese un gran mago, un mago poderoso. Y no tendría... No habría... No creo que hubiese ningún problema. Quiero decir, sí, es homosexual. A él le gusta acostarse con hombres. Y sé que está mal visto obligar a alguien a regañadientes a tener sexo con otra persona, pero es posible. No es aceptable moralmente, es horrible completamente, pero es posible. El problema es que no se sabe si la magia de verdad funciona así, y que dependiendo de dónde nazcas eres más poderoso o menos poderoso. Me alegro de tenerlo en el equipo, sinceramente.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad.
Que elija su propia
I
vida.
never tire of talking about myself.
Háblame del Imperio.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings.
No.
I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
El Imperio tiene una
There's
capilla.
an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Más o menos lo mismo que pasaba con los católicos y con los protestantes. No sé, la idea era que la gente no veía muy bien que fueses un protestante porque el rey Henry decía, bueno, me voy a inventar mi propia religión para poder divorciarme con mi esposa y hacer lo que quiera. Y claro, los católicos veían a los protestantes como unos herejes que estaban traicionando a su religión, y los protestantes veían a los católicos como unos herejes que no estaban creyendo en la religión de su rey. O sea que se llevan un poquitín mal. Supongo que más o menos va así la cosa. ¿Tan distinta es? Porque a lo mejor es casi igual.
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
Tenéis círculos.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
Que no son
We
como
don't
los
have
nuestros.
dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Ese es el problema. Que eso, don Juan o Juanito, tienes como el continente de Ferelden, donde los círculos oprimen tanto a los magos que son básicamente prisioneros. Y los templarios tienen el poder y abusan de su poder para maltratar a los magos. Luego tienes como en Tevinter, que los templarios sí pueden anular el poder de los magos, pero solamente de la gente débil, porque los magos poderosos tienen contactos. No hay un punto medio en el que dices, sí, hay magos muy poderosos que van a intentar hacer daño a la sociedad y vienen los templarios y se lo quitan. No sé cómo funciona. No, en el Kun funciona diferente. En el Kun funciona casi igual. Los magos son gente que hace magia y que tiene que ser controlada, y por eso la atan y la tratan como si fuese una víctima. ¿Eres creyente?
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question.
Sí.
It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Otros pondrían objeciones. Sí.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you'll recall. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
Me sorprende que creas
You don't
eso.
seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists,
Eso es lo que estaba
then
pensando yo.
yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us
A que
is
sí.
too frightening.
A que se ha aterrado. Lo que yo estoy pensando es... ¿es cierto que hay un montón de religiones que creen en sus propios dioses? O sea que la humanidad siempre ha tenido esa necesidad de que haya una explicación para algo. De que, no de que haya alguien velando por ellos, porque hay otras personas que no necesitan que nadie vele por ellos. Pero en la antigüedad siempre se ha dicho que la humanidad necesita explicar las cosas. ¿De dónde vienen los rayos? De Zeus. Zeus lanza los rayos. O Poseidón lanza los rayos. ¿Dónde vamos cuando morimos? Al Hades. Si no hubiese esas explicaciones, ¿de dónde viene la vida? ¿De dónde viene la naturaleza? Estaríamos aterrados de lo que podría ser cada cosa. Luego, poquito a poco, hemos empezado a investigar y hemos empezado a averiguar de dónde viene cada cosa. ¿Se puede creer en Dios sin creer en una religión concreta? Sí, obviamente. Es un punto interesante. Es un punto de vista interesante. Otras cositas.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
A ver, luego vienen los
It
magos.
seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
¿Y qué del Arconte?
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never
Pueden validar las
happens.
leyes, pero no ocurre
Even so,
porque le matan.
he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
O sea que también tienen su pequeño juego. A lo mejor no son tan diferentes los... Si mandan los
If it's a
magos.
fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Más o menos lo que dije. Anteriormente dije que el Imperio de Tevinter estaba muy inspirado en una mezcla entre el Imperio Romano y el Imperio Otomano. Esto sucede más o menos con... Como recuerdo yo, que no tengo muy buena memoria, pero creo que es como recuerdo yo que funcionaban las ideas, las castas en Roma. Tenías tus diferentes familias, unas eran ricas, otras eran pobres. Solo por ser romano no significaba que fueses alguien poderoso. Tenías a los esclavos libertos, que se acababan de liberar, pero no podían votar. Después te convertías en ciudadano. Pero el nivel de poder que ibas a encontrar con las familias de las castas altas, no ibas a poder encontrarlo en ningún otro lugar. No ibas a poder alcanzarlo si empezabas como un liberto o como un ciudadano de a pie.
Can anyone be a mage?
Es el problema.
The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Pues como la política actual. Sí, te puedes unir a un partido, pero no vas a estar en un puesto menor. No sé. A lo mejor me estoy metiendo mucho en temas políticos.
What is the Magisterium exactly?
¿Qué es el Magisterio? Venga.
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All majors now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
¿Y qué eres tú, entonces?
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special
Tú
title?
no tienes título, ¿no?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later. Lower class.
Ah, eres
If you're
noble.
not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
La esclavitud, y esto ya es lo último.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And? Did you have slaves?
Quiero decir,
Not
seguramente.
personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Tema de la esclavitud. Ya he hablado bastante de política. No quiero que me pongan a parir en los comentarios o aparezca alguna noticia en la que yo aparezco hablando y me acaben funando de con cualquier tipo de cosa. La esclavitud está mal. Estás negando la libertad a una persona. Ya sea porque te la has llevado de su hogar o porque ha nacido así. No le estás dando las mismas oportunidades. Les estás diciendo, sí, puedes vivir, a lo mejor te doy de comer, pero no te doy una libertad verdadera. No puedes elegir qué eres. Supongo que hay gente que creería que se podría ser feliz siendo un esclavo en vez de una persona libre. Pero ¿cómo podrían preferir una vida que nunca han experimentado? ¿Cómo podrías rechazar la vida que has vivido durante toda tu existencia? Como dice Altair en el primer Assassin's Creed. Bueno. Aquí esto no es así.
Well, we don't have slaves in the south.
In the south, you have alienages, slums,
Exacto.
both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a
Como en el
slave, he
Imperio
could have a
Romano, sí.
position of
Se
respect,
pueden vender.
comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Es que claro. Depende del amo si se les trata mal o no. Al menos pueden
At
elegir.
least they're free. They don't have slavery forced on them.
You think people choose to be poor and oppressed? I doubt it. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
Pues ya está, venga.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
¿Has visto a Alexius?
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken.
Sí, le han dado una
Not the
una
man I
paliza al
remember,
pobre hombre.
nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
Vale, está un poco en desacuerdo porque no tenemos las mismas visiones de...
Fliss said to check with you to make sure these are safe to sell.
¿Qué tal?
You're back. And in one piece.
¿Cómo van las
How are your
cosas?
people holding up?
No one's declared me a heretic recently, so I won't complain.
¿Cómo pido pociones?
How do I go about having potions made?
Just take a look there and tell me what you'd like. Find a recipe for something better, I can make that too.
Vale. No puedo desbloquear tónicos. Tengo una granada de alquitrán. Vale, pues creo que lo vamos a dejar aquí porque quiero hacer más cosas, pero todavía no. Espero que os haya gustado el vídeo. Si os ha gustado, recordad darle a like, suscribiros y nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo.